Come to me, my children. Follow the sound of my voice to receive thy blessings. Unburden yourself.
Ow! 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 Ow!
And welcome to the Church of Last Resort with the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll. The Church of Last Resort, where your prayers are heard, your sins forgiven, and no matter what you believe, you won't believe this shit. And now, the Irreverent Reverend, the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll.
Good morning. There we go. Thank you, brother. Good morning. Sorry about that little mishap there. As we say in the business, shit happens. We say that in the business a lot, because that's the business. Shit. All right. Good morning, brothers and sisters. This includes our new members who may be enjoying us for the very first time, wherever you may be and wherever you want to be, because you may not be where you want to be. There you are. Welcome to the Church of Last Resort on this beautiful, beautiful April 13th, Sunday, the last Sunday before your taxes are due, okay? And to be honest, I kind of forgot, because, I didn't forget because I have to do my taxes, the business taxes. I have to do that, and I'll probably do that tomorrow, because I can't do it today. When I leave here, when this service is over, I'm heading out to DC. Myself, a friend of mine, Douglas Adi, and another friend, G.D. Fenderson. You probably have heard of him. The three of us are going to go down to DC for the Japanese American Festival. We want to see what could be the last Japanese American festival in the United States before Trump deports them all for some fucking reason. We don't know what reason he'll use. Probably the Aliens War Act of 1890 something. But he's going to do something. He's an ignorant fuck. He can't help himself. So welcome to the Church of Last Resort. I am the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll, PhD, DDS, ADHD, MCM, LIX. Yes, indeed. People also have called me the Racy Reverend, the pervert pastor of our vulgar vicar of vice, the sexy shepherd, the missionary man, the minister of mischief, the wicked witness, the dirty deacon of doggy style, the frisky fry, the ass man abbot, the booty banging brother, the handsy high priest, Father Fist, Mr. Wicked, quote, I like to watch, witness, the holy ho, the divine dominating dominator, the prayed preacher, and I didn't make it. Good God, sorry. The minister of making love, the clergy of cunning conversation while eating pussy, and that nasty N-word. And I get called that a lot these days. But what can I tell you? The point is that I come by many names and by many methods, but I do not come easy. As a matter of fact, let me begin. Let us begin, as we always begin, in the name of the Holy Trinity, in the name of George Carlin, Robin Williams, and Richard Pryor. Can I get a fuck? Yeah. Fuck yeah! Yes. See, I've never, and to this, for 78 episodes or whatever we've been doing it here on this incarnation of what we do, 78 episodes, never referred to them as the Holy Trinity because I just thought people knew. And the only reason why I mention is because there's some dick, I won't mention their name, some podcasts that they pretty much attacked us. And one of the things they attacked was the fact that they said, don't be dragging George Carlin, Robin Williams, and Richard Pryor into this. And I was like, I'm not dragging them into it. It's deference. It's deference, but, what the fuck? The same person, and that same person also called me an asshole. And I can assure you, I am not an asshole. I have been tested. Okay? Now, if you've been called an asshole and you have not been tested, but you like to be tested to know if you're an asshole, please go to minddogtv.com. Go to minddogtv.com and get the asshole test, your at-home asshole testing kit. Okay. That's right. It's only $19.95, and it tests for all these things all those things back there to find out if you're an asshole. All right. So if people call you an asshole, like the box says, don't guess, test. Okay. So I know I'm not an asshole. So when people call me one, I don't get offended. I don't sweat the small stuff. I don't fight over lies. I fight for truth. That's a lesson that we should all be learning out there. Don't fight over lies, fight for truth. So go to minddogtv.com/merch and get your at-home asshole test kit. All right, there we go. I ran into a commercial earlier than I expected to, but what happens? I get sometimes things happen and life comes out of order. Okay, just like in real life, things happen, and the things you plan to do, you don't do in the order in which you wanted to do them, but they get done sometimes. Sometimes they don't, because the things you need to happen for you to do the things you do happen when you weren't ready to do those things you do. And so you couldn't do those things you do because the things happened out of the order. Or maybe they happened in order, but you just weren't ready for that order, and you couldn't do them because the conditions for you to do the things you want to do no longer existed. That happens. So you got that on tape, right? Because I can't say that again. you got that on tape? All right, good. It's not written down anywhere. Lord have mercy. It is time for our opening prayers. If you or someone you know is in need of a prayer by the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with an E, that's me, please send your request or for prayer or healing or forgiveness or any such thing to me at Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll at gmail.com. The address is scrolling across the bottom. And I'll say it again, it's scrolling across the bottom. But I'll spell it out for you, because if you're listening and not watching, you won't know how to spell it. So it's DRREVJELLYROLLE at gmail.com. And if you don't know how to spell gmail.com, what the fuck are you watching this for? You should be in some parochial school learning how to spell gmail.com. Okay? There. So please, like I said, please remember to put the E on the end. Otherwise, one of those other imposter jelly rolls. Not pasta jelly roll. That'd be nasty. Pasta and jelly roll? A pasta jelly roll. I can't even imagine that. I'm trying to imagine it. You see, look, I tried. I can't. I can't. It just doesn't sound right. A pasta jelly roll. Now, you don't want them to get it. That's why. It probably tastes awful. You want me to get your prayers. Like the last email I got. Well, I get an email every week. Every week I get an email from Ron Kane Comedy letting us know that they have a showcase, an open mic on Mondays at the Harrisburg HMAC, which stands for How Many Asses Can, and then the rest is up to you. So you have the email address if you want to reach out to me. You can have blessings, you can have forgiveness, you can have a question. Like one person a little while ago asked me if I was related to G.D. Fenderson, because they saw something of a resemblance. And not really. I wouldn't say there's a close. First of all, I don't see the resemblance. And second of all, I don't see why people would think we're related. We don't sound anything alike. Our hair is totally different. But hey, I guess there's some things, I guess blood is thicker than hair. I don't know. Now for our disclaimer. While all prayers are heard, not all prayers are answered when we want them to be. Some loopholes and restrictions may apply. For certain, definitely may apply. They do apply. I just have to say may for legal reasons, but they apply. If there's a loophole, it applied. We applied it. Matter of fact, we applied it like you apply ointment on a canker sore. We applied that sucker like you would apply KY on a hairstyle to get that wet look. That's right. So we applied it. Matter of fact, not only did we apply it, we rubbed it deep, like a deep apply. Okay, and there's also restrictions where you can apply it, because some places it'll make it swell up and bleed. So you gotta read the instructions and the restrictions and the loopholes before you apply them. So please bow your head unless you're driving your car or your significant other, and if that is the case, just close your eyes and let Jesus do the driving while we pray. Dear Lord, please bless Brother J. North. That's right. J. North, known for his work on the television series Dennis the Menace, has died. He was 73 years of age. J. North has been fighting colorectal cancer for a number of years. And on April 6th at noon Eastern Standard Time, Jay passed peacefully at home. And that's awfully specific. Almost like someone was in the room with him and that person had an appointment to keep. Just sitting there going, it's 11:55 and they're going, come on, Jay. Come on, I love you, but I got to be out of here no later than noon Eastern Standard Time. I know it's 11:56. Come on. But it's 11:57. What the fuck you waiting for, Jay? That's awfully specific note to be putting at noon, like right there. Like they got like they sit there. He's sitting there with a sundial right there, and they're watching the sundial. And they're going, "Come on, Jay, it's almost noon. Look at that, it's almost noon." So that's very specific. I had to take note of that. Mr. North portrayed Dennis Mitchell in the CBS sitcom Dennis the Menace from 1959 to 1963. In the decades that followed, he shared rare insight on his life as a child star and some of the drawbacks that came with it. Rare, but not uncommon. Rare insight, but not uncommon insight. Rare, almost every, so rare, or is it rare? Almost every child star that there has been. Rare, I don't understand that sentence there. Rare, almost every child star. Oh, there's punctuation missing. Rare, it goes, rare, almost every child star that there has ever been has, okay, yeah. Never mind. Mama, Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be child stars. That's right. That's how that song goes. A quote, and this is a quote from J. North, quote, I only came alive and became this outgoing, happy little boy when I was in front of the camera, close quote. North previously said, obviously he previously said, it could be said now, be a little late, because dead. Quote, but when I was away from the camera and around the stage, I was a very quiet, introverted kid. I had a fascination with a science fiction film called Village of the Damned about those children who have this power where they could look at people and take control of their minds and make them do horrible things to themselves. I wanted to do that. I wanted to hurt people and cause them the pain that they were causing me. Close quote. Okay, the dramatics were my interpolation of what I thought he was saying. Jesus Christ. Hey, Mr. Wilson, why didn't you say something, Mr. Wilson? Mr. Wilson was sitting there watching this whole thing going down. He could have said something other than the stuff that he was saying. He was saying things like, you're a pest, a menace, a selfish, spoiled little boy, and I have no use for you. I don't want to see you. I don't want to know you. Those were all quotes that Mr. Wilson said to that child. And I guess he had no idea what was going on inside of Jay. No idea what was going on inside of that little kid. But Mr. Wilson was like that. He just, what can I tell you about Mr. Wilson that we have? And look, first of all, we know how Mr. Wilson doesn't like being around people. That's how he got to be on that island by himself. And that's why he was so upset when Tom Hanks showed up. So anyway, enough about Mr. Wilson. This is about Mr. J. North. In the movie Maya, J. North played 14-year-old Terry Bowen, who travels from the U.S. to India to meet his father, Hugh Bowen, for the first time. After a dispute with his father, Terry runs away and is befriended by Raji, and hilarity ensues. I assume. I never saw the movie. I didn't know the movie existed until just now. But Jay reprised that role in the made-for-TV adaptation, where he ran away again because running away the first time wasn't enough. He ran away a second time, just like the movie. You'd think he'd have learned it, but he didn't learn. As an adult, he turned to voice acting for animated television series, voicing the roles of Prince Turhan in the Arabian Nights segment of the Banana Splits Adventure Hour, and in the Flintstone Comedy Hour, and a teenaged Bam Bam Rubble in the Pebbles and Bam Bam Show. I thought that was Ed Sheeran in Bam Bam. Okay, never mind. Learn something new every day. I just assumed Bam Bam and Ed Sheeran. She ran. Ed Sheeran. Okay. Well, at any rate, I learned something except for how to pronounce that man's name. Jay North also worked as a corrections officer in Florida. That's right. Quote, a lot of the inmates that I've guarded remember the show Dennis the Menace. He told the Washington Times. Quote, many of them grew up watching the show, some of the first time out, others in reruns, close quote. And they were probably surprised that Jay wasn't in prison. After all, he was a child star. You know, probably many of the inmates in there were child stars. You know, they had it rough. Rest in peace, Jay. When it came to driving Mr. Wilson crazy, you were the designated driver. Yeah, yes, indeed. Can I get pointed in the right direction? See, because his name is North. Jay North. Shaken, not stirred. Dear Lord, please bless those. Please bless those of people who died at the discoteca Jet Set Risque. Authorities in the Dominican Republic have identified 146 of the 221 people who were killed when the roof of a Santo Domingo nightclub collapsed this week. The National Attorney General's office released a list of names. I'm not going to go through 146 of them right now because that would take you to next week, because I can't pronounce half of them. I can pronounce like 3, 4. I went through the list. I can pronounce 4 of those names. And it wouldn't be fair to the other 142 that I can't pronounce if I just listed those 4 names. To release the names Thursday morning, alongside a statement saying teams of forensic doctors and pathologists are still working tirelessly to perform all the autopsies. I don't know. Autopsies? Okay, unless something else happened, the roof collapsed and it fell on people and it killed them. Autopsy done. And identify the remaining bodies retrieved from the rubble. Okay, maybe that's what the autopsy is supposed to get identify, because they don't need to know cause of death, you know. Juan Manuel Mendez, director of the country's Emergency Operations Center, said rescue efforts have officially ended after 53 hours of nonstop search. So if you're under there and you hear me, nobody's coming for you. I'm sorry. Quote, today we conclude the most difficult work in my 20 years as the head of the EOC, close quote, he said in tears. I thought he was in the Dominican Republic. Okay, I guess he had to get away. Quote, we lifted all the rubble. That would be Barney and Betty and Bam Bam. And rescued 189 survivors. Hopes of finding more victims alive are dwindling. Hundreds of heartbroken families have been showing up to the site of the tragedy, hoping to find their missing loved ones since Tuesday, when the roof of the bustling discoteca Jet Set Risque. The Jet Set nightclub collapsed during a performance by the renowned merengue singer Ruby Perez, who is among the dead. It is believed that Robbie was performing hit songs like Buscando dos Buscando dos besos. And if my junior high school Spanish is worth a dime, Buscando dos besos either means fuck off Jeff Bezos or looking for your kisses. It's been a while since I've had to use my Spanish. And also the song Cobarde, Cobarde. Okay, Cobarde, Cobarde, which I think translates to Trump, Trump. Not to be confused with the Selena's Cobarde, which translate to cowardly or wimpy. Apparently, Cobarde in singular is cowardly. I guess that's what the distinction is. I think if it's one, it's cowardly, but if it's too cowardly, it's Trump. So, rest in peace, those of you who lost your lives at the discoteca Jet Set Risque. Can I get a tear the roof off the sucker, tear the roof off the sucker, tear the roof off the mother sucker? Dear Lord, please bless Brother Ron Kane, Coffee with the Dog co-host. Ron Kane, who is best known for
coming for you
and for
that's what I call schlong division,
is leaving Coffee with the Dog. And it's about time. He just doesn't shut the fuck up. Lord, all it runs is fucking mouth all the goddamn time. Lord have mercy. Can I get
if I keep squeezing it, it's going to explode.
That's right. If you keep squeezing it, it's going to explode. Amen. That's what I'm talking about. So, now, I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm supposed to say. And finally, Lord, please bless the entire. See, there was another prayer I was going to put there, but it's not time yet because they're on life support. Turns out they're not dead. I'm gonna wait another week before I do that prayer. But then, because they're not dead, and I found out this morning they're not dead, so I can't do that prayer. But I'm waiting. Kind of like Jay North. I'm waiting. It's like, come on, we're gonna do this prayer next week. You got
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Not even 2 weeks. 1 week? 1 week? That's it. You got 1 week. I'm sorry. But I am waiting a week to do that prayer. And what kind of sick fuck are you? And finally, Lord, please bless the entire behind-the-scenes staff of Mind Dog TV. They are truly doing your work, helping to spread your word throughout the wordosphere, which is right above the stratosphere, but beneath the condom sphere. They could be anywhere today, but they are here, wishing they were anywhere today. And that ought to count for something. That's right. MindDogTV.com, the place to go for all of your Church of Last Resort gear and your asshole test, your your at-home asshole test. Get it today, $19.95. Don't be guessing. Don't be guessing whether or not you're an asshole. People are calling you an asshole. Be certain. No. Be tested. Get tested. Okay?
Truth is, I'm right about all of it, and you know it.
That's right. Now, let's have a little bump for the Lord. I think I got some in my nose. Is it that good some in there? Could you right there? I don't know. I felt something go up there and come out there. We'll see. We'll find out. All right. Well, at any rate, so brothers and sisters, in the name of George Carlin, Robin Williams, and Richard Pryor, can I get a fuck? Yeah. Fuck yeah! Yes, indeed. Brothers and sisters, before we head to our sermon today, which is Gopher Snakes, all rattle and no bite. Now, if you read the thing, it says G.O.P.her snakes, all rattle and no bite. And it will make sense once I tell you about the sermon, or at least a good chunk of the sermon. But before we do, as always, there are people out there who say, Reverend, how can I get on minddogtv.com? I'm a struggling artist. I'm an experienced comedian, but I want to expand my base. I'm a musician and I want to expand my base. I'm an author and I want to expand my base, but only the musician actually has a base. Everybody else has jokes and books. But hey, who am I to judge? And we don't judge. Not at Mind Dog TV. No, and not at Coffee with the Dog. We don't judge. We may mock, we may ridicule, and we may belittle, but there's no judgment. No judgment. And Sister Curly Hair So Bright is going to tell you how to get on that show. Aren't you, Sister Curly Hair?
Comedians, musicians, songwriters, filmmakers, authors, and podcasters. Coffee with the Dog is booking for the
spring and summer
now. Get free publicity and hone your interview skill in a fun and safe setting. Coffee with the Dog is a live radio, live stream podcast based in New York that airs daily Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 11 o'clock in syndication on iHeartRadio, as well as video streaming platforms like YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and many other platforms. Guests usually come on remotely via StreamYard, like Zoom but easier, although occasionally we do in-studio interviews. The morning show focuses mainly on comedians and musicians, and they have interviewed many top names and classic celebrities such as Robert Klein, Mike Binder, Eddie Brill, Doug Stanhope, Steve Byrne, Paul Provenza, Jeff Altman, and many, many others. For booking, go to minddogtv.com/booking.
Thank you, Sister Curly Hair So Bright. She is true staple of this community. She's an upstanding woman. Known her family for years. That's why we gave her the job. It's not nepotism. It's more like we know them tism. Like I said, I've known their family for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or more. Something Red Baron's going to score or some shit like that. I can't remember. Snoopy is a song. I think it's about Snoopy and the Red Baron. I can't remember the song. It just popped into my head just now when I was trying to figure out how many years I've known their family. The Bright family. But at any rate, you can Google it. Now, the reason why I called this sermon Gopher Snakes, all rattle and no bite, but I spelled it G.O.P.her is because, well, let me take you back. I'm going to take you back in the Wayback Machine, Peabody and Sherman style. I'm going to take you back. Matter of fact, I'm going to moonwalk it. There we go. Moonwalk. That's right. You didn't know I could moonwalk, did you? That's right. I could also do I could do a lot of that shit at my age. I could still moonwalk. Yeah. I want to take you back to the Trump proclaimed Liberation Day. Okay. Liberation Day comes from the Latin liberate, free, and shunday, which means to lose your money. Okay. That's a day that we all shun. That's right. Liberation Day. So we're going back to that day. Before, when shit was just going crazy and the markets were going worse and worse and worse, and at the same time, Doge was going around hacking shit up. Well, they're still hacking shit up, but they're hacking shit up, and people are in the streets protesting, and they're like, don't touch my Social Security, don't touch my Medicaid, don't touch my Medicare, don't touch me, don't touch my body, just don't touch, stop touching. You be touching me, I'm touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. That's the whole time Doge is going, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. And then they're touching all around, and they're annoying the fuck out of us. Even before they touch us, they're like fucking things up, and we're getting scared because we know know eventually it's going to touch us. We know it's going to touch us. It's just a matter of time. And we're calling our senators and we're calling our Congress people. We're calling our representatives, and they're like getting sick of it. They're like tired of it. And they're afraid to show up and do their job. You know, they're afraid to do their job, but they're afraid not to do their job, right? No, they're afraid to do their job because if they do their job, you know, Trump would get mad at them. Trump says, don't do your job. Stay out my way. Let me do what I want to do. But the Republicans they're being yelled at by their constituents and saying, do your job. And they just, we don't know what to do. So what the Republicans did was they threatened to threaten Trump if Trump didn't consider backing off his tariffism. See what I'm saying? They threatened to threaten him. They're like, don't make us threaten you. You don't want us to threaten you. So they threatened to threaten, like a gopher snake. See, a gopher snake looks like a rattlesnake. It looks like a rattlesnake, but it doesn't have the bite. And it doesn't have a real rattle. What happens is a gopher snake will shake its tail like this. I'll show you. Let's say like this. Shakes its tail. But he doesn't have a rattle. He does it over top of gravel and dead leaves. So it goes like, and you hear that rattle, and you go, holy shit, I better step back. I better moonwalk away from that gopher snake. But you don't know it's a gopher snake. So you're saying, I'm a moonwalk away from that rattlesnake. And the gopher snake says, see, I threatened to threaten you. So back off. And that's what the Republicans were hoping to do. They were saying, Trump, we're threatening to threaten you. So back off. And Trump was like, ha, ha, ha. I'm not backing off. My tariffs are the greatest tariffs ever. I'm going to have the greatest depression ever. A depression like you've never seen. That kind of thing. So, and the whole time, Trump kept saying, I know what I'm doing. That's the plan. I know what I'm doing. And if someone is watching you do something and they're not convinced you're doing it right, and you feel like you have to say, I know what I'm doing, chances are you don't know what you're doing. If people are watching you, if people who know how it's supposed to work are watching you and saying, that's not how it's done, and you have to keep saying, I know what I'm doing, then you don't know what you're doing. Okay? I'm telling you, chances are, I've been there. Okay? I've been in places where, I'm a homeowner. Okay? I'm a homeowner, and I have a wife, and I have kids and pets. Okay? And when shit breaks around the house, I'm the first one to try to fix it. And don't want to spend any money. I'll be looking at my wife and say, call the plumber. And I'm like, I can do this. I know what I'm doing. And the wife is like, call the plumber. It's getting deep in here. I said, I know what I'm doing. And she's like, well, at least turn the water off so we could stop, holding our breath in here. And I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I was going to turn the water off first. That's part of the plan. I was trying to get all the water out of the well so that I could fix it. So I know what I'm doing. But, and the thing is, I have some knowledge of how some things work. So I'm trying to figure it out as I go along. Okay? Because I didn't know what I was doing, but I was trying to save money. Now, in Trump's case, he's not trying to save money. He says he's trying to save money. See, you get that? He says, we're trying to save money. We're trying to cut fraud. We're trying to cut waste. We're trying to cut abuse. But check this out. He's trying to cut waste? How many fucking golfing trips does that man have to take? Each trip that he takes is like $30 million. And he's taking, 10 trips? And he's only been in office 80 days? That's like 30, that's 8 times, it's like $240 million he's already wasted. And that's not even counting like trips to the racetrack, not the racetrack, but the races. What was it? The Indianapolis 500, another $20 million. Goes to an Army-Navy game, another $20 million. If he's really trying to cut back on waste, cut back on waste. When I was struggling financially, when I got my first apartment, and the first few months were kind of rough, because you had to pay the first month's rent and your last month's rent and that month's rent, And then you still got to turn on the electric, and you still got to buy food and whatever things you need for the apartment. The first few months are kind of rough. So I cut back on waste and abuse. There was no fraud. It was just me. I was the fraud. Because I was still acting like in public like I was okay. I was still like, yeah, girl, we can go out and order whatever you want. That was fraud. Yeah, sure, we can go to the club. Yeah, order what you want. That was fraud. So there was some fraud. And there was, but I cut back on the waste and I cut back on the abuse. Instead of buying ice cream for snacks, I used to buy ice cream and frozen Snickers bars. I love those Snickers bars, and I would be eating them today if I wasn't diabetic. That was my favorite treat. That was my sin. That was my comfort food. My little Snickers bars. I'd be like a little otter. I'd be laying naked on the rug with the Snickers bar pounding on my chest and just eating it. Because I love those little Snickers bars. But when money got tight, I said, okay, I'm not going to buy the Snickers bars. When money got tight, I didn't buy the real good beer. Well, I'll take that back. Instead of buying a case of that, I bought a 6-pack of that, and I bought Bud Light for my friends, So, and I would just pour it in I had Bud, and I would just pour it in one of my lead crystal Pilsners. So I would walk out, and they would see the Molson ice bottles, okay, but they think that's what they were getting, but they were getting Bud served to them in a lead Pilsner glass, and they're like, didn't know the difference. So I had to cut back on the waste, and I had to cut back on the abuse because the money was tight. And that's what Trump says he's doing. He says, I'm trying to save money. That's why I'm doing it myself. That's why I'm not getting Congress involved. That's why I'm not getting the Senate involved. That's why I'm not getting the House involved. I'm trying to save money by doing it myself. Me and my friend are going to do this. It's like me and my friend trying to fix my plumbing, and my friend don't know shit about plumbing either. Okay, except for he knows how to take a bath. I think can't tell by the way he smells, but he knows how the water works. He just don't know how to use it, I guess. So it's like you and your friends are having a few drinks and trying to fix shit, and you shouldn't be. That's what it's like. I'm just trying to save money by doing it myself. I'm not going to get Congress involved. But Congress is like, you got to get us involved. Please let us get involved. We're getting our asses chewed out. Every fucking week we're getting our asses chewed out. But they didn't want to come out and say that, because if they do, then Trump yells at them. And so they threaten. They said, you better do something. Don't put us in a situation where we'll threaten to threaten you. Don't make us threaten to threaten you. Fucking GOP's first snakes. All right. And so the market kept crashing and crashing and crashing. And then Trump would not be moved. Us regular people were losing money left and right. And then one day, Trump says to everybody, be cool. It's a great time to buy. And 90 minutes later? No, sorry, a few hours later, he says, I'm rescinding my tariffs. Stock market rises. Stock market rises like it's Easter Sunday. Stock market goes rising. And the thing is, it doesn't go all the way back up. See, when Jesus rose, he was like back to normal, kind of, But when our stock market rose, woo, it was still 4 percentage points short of what it started at. Still 4% short. But people are so happy. They were just so happy. They're like, oh, dear Lord, thank you. We're only losing 4% of our money instead of 10. You're still losing money, okay? Except for the people who knew it was cool. And by now, those people made out like fucking bandits. Was that a tip of the hand? We know how Trump works. I'm going to tell you now, yeah, there are people who want to investigate. I don't have to investigate, okay? I know that he cheated. I know. And the reason why we know that is because the past is prologue. Or is it anti-log? There's a log in there somewhere. You can find it. If you find that log, you put it pro or anti, wherever you want to put it. Just find that log. It's missing. It's been missing for a couple of days. But we know his past. He says things like, Russia, are you listening? I'm sure they would reward you mightily if you could find those emails. And what happened? Russia hacked Hillary Clinton's emails. But also, they hacked the GOP's emails as well. That's right. They hacked both, but they leaked the Clinton emails and they kept the Republican emails as leverage. See, it was reported that they reported that both were hacked. But the focus was on the Clinton emails because that was what was released. And no one said, what happened to the Republican emails? They were hacked also. Why aren't they released? Because if you release them, you don't have leverage. You can't blackmail somebody with something if everybody knows about it. You can only blackmail them if it's a secret. I'm not making that up. You can, everything I say, if it's true, you can verify it. If it's not true, you can figure it out. I'm just saying. But it's true. It's real. Okay? See, here's the deal. I'm going to keep saying, I say here's the deal a lot. It's funny. My wife, when your wife listens to you, when you have someone who's around you all the time, they kind of know what you're going to say. They know what you're about to say because of because of the precursor. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's some things I say and my wife teases me about it. I will say, be that as it may. Okay. And my wife knows what the subject is going to be next, be that as it may. And she knows what I'm about to say next. Not the specific, but the tone. Or if someone says, with all due respect, you know the next thing coming is not respectful. If someone says, bless your heart, you know that's not what they meant. See? And one of the things I often say, be that as it may, and I often say, to be honest. Okay, to be honest. Which implies I wasn't telling the truth before, but I was telling the truth before. But this is like extra truth when I say to be honest. It's like extra truth that I probably wasn't ready to tell you or wasn't planning on telling you, but it's coming to my head. And it's like, I'm going to be honest and put that out there. To be honest, quite often, conservative-leaning outlets refer to convicted felon, unregistered sex offender, public housing resident Donald Trump as commander-in-chief. Okay? And they do that to make him seem presidential because he doesn't act presidential. And the only way you know he's presidential or president is if somebody reminds you. It's like watching a football team. All right. If you watch a football team, the quarterback gets in position. Okay. When the play is called, once that ball is hiked, you know that's the quarterback back there by the way he executes the play. But let's say somebody standing behind the center is number 80 or number 98. They're in their 400 pounds. You know they're not a quarterback, but they're back there receiving the ball from the center. So by definition, they're the quarterback. But once the play starts, they're waddling back. They can't throw. It's like, and then somebody goes to tackle, like, eek! Because they're not used to being tackled. They're not a quarterback. They're just in the position of the quarterback. They have the right jersey. They have on a helmet. They hyped them the ball. They got a play on the list. They got their wrist right there. They got the plays there. But once the action starts, you can tell he's not a quarterback. You can tell because he doesn't act quarterbackal. Okay? That's what's going on with Trump. He's back there. They hyped the ball to him. The play is running, and he don't know what to do. So when the play is over and he's fucked up, then his home team announcer says, look at that quarterback. That was not his fault. The center should have blocked harder. The tight end should have run his route better. The running back should have picked up that guy before he tackled him. And not once do they say the quarterback should have been better at being a quarterback. And that's what they're doing when they're calling him a commander-in-chief. They just want you to think it's somebody else's fault that things are not going right because he's the commander-in-chief. All right. But if you paid attention to what he's been doing lately, he's not a commander-in-chief. No, it's sad. He's been obsessed with revenge. So he's more like a petty office holder, or not even a petty officer. He's a petty office holder, okay? The man is on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, and if you're watching this like in the reruns, this past Wednesday was the Wednesday that just went by, okay? Not the other Wednesday, but this past Wednesday. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. And if you need an actual day, I'm going to say April 9th, but I don't know that it's April 9th because I'm just guessing. But it was a Wednesday. You can look at the calendar. Don't make me do all of your work. Do some of the work for yourself. Okay. You can verify what I'm saying. Check it out. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm not wrong. So don't let me know. Shut up. Wednesday, April 9th-ish. Trump directed federal agencies to revoke the security clearances and review the activities of two high-level former government officials who questioned his election fraud claims and his conduct in his first term. There was Christopher Krebs, or as we call him, Chris Krebs. He was the former head of the federal agency's top cybersecurity agency during the 2020 elections when Biden kicked Trump's ass. But Trump said, no, that election was stolen. I didn't lose it. It was stolen. And then there was Miles Taylor, a former Department of Homeland Security official who wrote an anonymous memoir. Okay, I think that was his code name, Anonymous. He kept leaking things to the press about the Trump administration under the name Anonymous. Okay, turns out his name is Miles Taylor. And he wrote an anonymous memoir that criticized Trump's handling of classified documents and other conduct during his first term. Now, and what was one of the things that happened after his term was over with? He was being criticized for the way he handled documents. And what was that one of that thing in Florida, Mar-a-Lago? Oh yeah, mishandling of classified documents. People were warned, and he still fucking got off. But the point is, we all know he did it. Okay, it's like an episode of SVU where the rapists get off because some technicality, and then someone goes, "Okay, fine, you can get off, but we got footage, and we're going to leak the footage." See that? We caught you. Okay, maybe the jury didn't find you guilty, but we know you're a rapist. That's the same thing about Trump. Okay, he wasn't convicted, but we got all the evidence. We know what he did wrong. We know he's a lot of things. I can't even begin to say the things he is. But that's beside the point. I'm not here to point names and call fingers. Right. Okay, one memorandum signed by Trump directed the Attorney General and the Homeland Security Secretary to, quote, take all appropriate action to, quote, to review, close quote. Okay, and the activities of Krebs, another directed Homeland Security Secretary to review Taylor's activities as a government employee. Okay, they're looking for anything at all. If they find anything at all, they're going to blow it out of proportion to discredit them and to hurt them. Because, see, Trump is vindictive. He can't just lose because he's a loser. If he loses because it's someone else's fault, and he needs somebody to blame. And if somebody bests him at something, he's going to go after them. You know, he's going to attack. Says he's a petulant little child. Although not so little, but he's petulant, and he is a child. Okay. Now, not only did he sign that executive order, basically singling out Krebs and Taylor, but Trump also signed a new executive order on Wednesday, that same Wednesday, in pursuit of familiar and elusive goal, quote, undoing the left's war on water pressure, close quote. Okay, here's the deal. I think during as general rule of thumb, President Biden and President Obama recognized that there was, we needed to conserve some things, and water is a limited resource. I know it looks like it's not a limited resource because you go down and you see the rivers flowing, but guess what? Okay, oh, I'm sorry. Now I sound like Biden. Guess what? Guess what? That's Biden. Guess what? I'm serious. I'm serious. No joke. Guess what? Like, have you ever been to the Colorado River? I was at the Colorado River in the 70s, and that motherfucker it was rapids. I mean, it was flowing heavy. And when I was there, people who had been there for like 20 and 30 years looked at me and goes, "This is nothing. You see that line up there?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "That's where the river used to be. Where we're standing now used to be underwater. We could not stand here. The river used to be that high. And it's getting lower and lower and lower and lower." Okay? And it's like that just about all over, especially in the West. Now, in the East, we've got all kinds of flooding problems occasionally because we have these fucking storms, and a lot of places just can't handle all the extra rain. And so a lot of places are flooding. So we have too much water. They have not enough. Okay? If it was up to me, 20 years ago, or 20 years ago when the pattern started, and I would have, we have a lot of abandoned pipelines, broken pipelines. I would have focused on fixing them, and every time we had a flood here, just start piping water out there. Just pipe it, Now, it may not be enough to stop the flooding. Who knows? And again, that's what engineers are for, because there's a bunch of things you have to consider. You can't just send the water out there because the water has organisms and live things that live in it. And over here, those things will have natural predators. Things that take them out. But over there, they wouldn't. Okay, like out west, they have this fish. I can't remember the name of it now because I just talking about it. But it's so aggressive. It's like eating all of the carp. I think it is I think it's like a Japanese carp. But it's eating everything else out there, and they're trying to say to people, you can eat it. Yeah, it's kind of bony and it kind of tastes nasty, but if you put enough seasoning on it, it'll taste almost like food. That's the problem. That's another reason why, because nobody wants to eat it, so nobody's catching it. So it's just making things worse. And we got the same problem in the Chesapeake Bay, except for the fish that they're talking about here in the Chesapeake Bay actually does taste good. It looks ugly, so you don't want to see it laying on ice. You don't want to say, "I want that one," because it's ugly. And it is kind of bugs. You want to fillet it, but they've made it taste good. So you can't just send the water out there. The point is, what I'm trying to say is, Biden and Obama took some action, and they have some efficiency standards, okay, and they're national. Even though the problem, like I said, isn't national, but it's national enough. Climate change is fucking us all, okay? So yeah, we need some kind of measures now to help prolong the effects, because we're not doing anything to stop climate change, or not enough. But the consequences are going to be there. So there's going to be a shortage of resources. We're going to shortage of land because we're going to lose land to the water, because water is going to win 100% of the times. Even when we have the dams out there, those dams are going to break eventually. And the water eventually will win. And that is why Trump is concerned about water pressure. He said it's about his hair. He says, "I like to lather it up and it just drip, 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 and I can't get the lather out." That's bullshit. The problem is his fat ass sits on the toilet and he takes some 4 flushes to get that stuff to go down, and that's embarrassing for him. It's like, and he doesn't want to take responsibility for his KFC diet or his Mickey D's diet or his just fat lard ass. No, it's the toilet's fault that is getting clogged, not his ass. That's why he wants the high water pressure. So, something? He's in executive office. If he's really that concerned, get himself a toilet tank that's 5 gallons instead of 1 or 2. Just get a 5-gallon toilet tank. It'll be like this high up, okay? And or maybe get one of those that just sucks the stuff out, like at an airport or something, airplane. It's like, Sucks it out. Okay, problem solved. But don't make the rest of us pay for your fat ass. That's absolutely ridiculous. Now, a couple weeks ago, I think it was a couple weeks ago, we had this thing that they want to call Signal Gate. You know, this when the reporters accidentally, not the reporter, when damn, I can't remember the fucker's name, Michael Waltz accidentally included Jeffrey Goldberg from the Atlantic on what should have been a secure communication. Okay, I'm saying secure with my fingers like this, with the rabbit fingers. And Trump didn't say anything about it. He's like, okay, shit happens. It was a beautiful call, beautiful chat, most beautiful chat ever. I've never seen a chat that beautiful. Last week, Trump accidentally called his former national security advisor, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster. Okay, this was last month. He did this. Okay, and what happened was Trump wanted to call. He wanted to call a different McMaster. He wanted to call. I'm trying to think. It's like I'm trying to think. I'm trying to find a name because I'm skipping ahead here. There was another person whose last name is McMaster. I think it's like H.J. McMaster and not H.R. McMaster. But he wanted to call a different McMaster. And so McMasters answers the call when the phone rings. And the call said, he says like, will you please hold for the president? And McMaster, H.R. McMaster is like, okay, but why would he be calling me? You know, I called him all kinds of dirty names, you know, on 60 Minutes, you know, why would he want to talk to me? So, but Masters waited and he took the call. And then Mr. Trump got on the phone and McMaster says, Mr. President, this is H.R. McMaster. And then Trump yells out, H.R. McMaster, why the fuck do I want to talk to you? Trump called him. He didn't call Trump. Okay? Trump called him. And that's what I'm saying. It's not a big deal. People make these kinds of mistakes. The problem is they don't want to fix them. And it's okay for people below you to keep fucking up and not take ownership because you don't want to take ownership. Okay? They say the fish rots from the head down. That's an expression. It rots from the head down. If it's true or not, I don't know. All I know is it doesn't matter where the fish starts rotting from, the whole fucking thing's got to go. The whole fucking thing's got to go. You know? Because we're just going to be on this roller coaster ride up and down for as long as that man is in his office, you know. And I would not be surprised if he's not using, the reason why he doesn't give a shit about us and what we don't have is because he's smuggling the shit in on his airplane. You know, he's smuggling in coffee and chocolate and Cialis and Viagra and tampons. You know, yeah. At some point, if these tariffs had stood, women would not be able to afford tampons and chocolate. You know, we're going to be in a lot of fucking trouble. Between that and no coffee, Lord have mercy. Well, at least Robert Kennedy Jr. has got things under control at the Health and Human Services, right? At least he's on the ball. Because like they say, if you don't have your health, well, that's just fine. Brothers and sisters, thank you. Thank you for watching. I know that was a weird transition. I jumped ahead, I think. But that's okay. I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you for signing on to my YouTube channel and to my Facebook channel under Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll. I want to thank you all and bless you all. And if you're so inclined, check out my friend GD Fenderson on gigsalad.com. If you need a comedian for a private event or any event, just call him, text him, write him. hire him, pay him. So on behalf of the Church of Last Resort and the entire Roll family, my wife Amona, my kids Cinnamon and Jelly Jr., our cat Tootsie, and our dog Stop Dropping, I wish you safe travels, and I hope you will join us next week at 9 a.m. Eastern Orthodox Time on Mind Dog TV and everywhere that our word is heard. Bless you and thank you. Brothers and sisters, in the name of George Carlin, Robin Williams, and Richard Pryor, can I get a funk? Yeah. Fuck yeah!